All right, here we go for another rock and roll. Yeah. Yeah, right. Here we go for another rock and roll. Overtime, every time. On the toes. But we're gonna go with a cup of coffee, grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid. Dancing is my favorite sport. For the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, I just went got $1.50. $1.50 paid for. I'm gonna show the bill. Paid from $288. Actually, I'm gonna show the whole thing. Let me see if I can place myself here. Maybe here somewhere. That's no, a little bit of that away from the smoke, I guess. Cigarette smoke. Last time I had a cigarette was 7 years ago when I crossed Canada. So here's what I got purchased. I go for an overtime every time, rock and roll much. From the same place as yesterday, we came here to do a little bit of a checking budget for the holidays. So I got these 288 grams, 288. So it's packs of 2 cookies, 18 times 16 grams. So it's packs, but it's 288 grams. That's not bad at all for the price. I'm just gonna check how good, of course, the quality. Stack them in the backpack. Backpack has about 45, close to 45 pounds. And you stack it up and put it in the backpack. Put it on the back and get ready to go that dragon rainbow dancing march. Grateful, thankful. My rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, got food and coffee, and encourage all the workout, train, exercise. Workout, train, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Make sure my wallet's closed, and I'm gonna go for that rock and roll. There's a movie complex here, There's a movie complex, so this is how much I paid. See, $1.50. Gave $2, give 50 cents back. $1.50. See, that's $1.50. $1.50 Canadian. That's how much those 288 grams. If it's good, that's good price. One cannot complain. $1.50, you know, for 288 grams in terms of sweets, because you know I like my sweets. So that's gonna be my treat after my marching workout, exercise, rock and roll 24/7, Dragon versus Trump special. Thinking about some solutions, North Americans Unite 24/7, and got this coffee was on special for whatever the case may be, and there of course gave a little bit of joy and having laughter, and that's important, and gonna get it for the LOV, and if they love, that's important. That's important. They're joyous and happy. I'm joyous and happy. If they're happy, they're joyous. I'm joyous. I wish I would have been more financially, because just financial stress now. Financial stress. But besides my financial stress, you know, it's not just me, it's a lot of people. But I wish I would have had billions and to give, to donate to people across the North American complex. But of course, I saw some people joyous and holding hands, hugging, because it's not all about the money, and you know it, you know. But myself just now, financial stressed. Besides my financial stress, I got to be grateful, thankful, because I'm going on these steps. Grateful, thankful, going on the steps, and we're gonna go rock and roll, drill it, and I'm gonna say my gratitude for this coffee. It's still on special. It says special is gonna end soon, so I still got it on special for $1 special coffee. So I got the coffee, rock and roll with it. We're gonna go from here to my neighborhood, special freestyle. I'm not gonna go all the way to the mountain today. I was gonna plan to go all the way to the mountain maybe tomorrow when we rock and roll for another drill. Today's December 3rd, so I'm already about 2 hours, close to 3 hours on my march, and I went a little bit to the place there, and I actually went to check to see for, you know, the Christmas logs, holiday logs, the cakes, how they were special, if they were any special, but unfortunately they were affordable. I found the most affordable ones for the holidays, but I'm not going to buy until in a week or 2 weeks, just before holidays, just before the 24th or the 25th, due to the fact that, of course, I checked the expiry date and it was expiring, and best before 17th of December. So if I get them today, I'm gonna have to eat them over the weekend. So that's a no for that. So I said I'm just gonna wait. Be a little bit on the patience, you know, be a little bit on the patient side. Sometimes it's good to be a little bit more patient, you know, and sometimes it could be a virtue, whatever the case may be. So grateful, thankful, gratitude, grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee on these steps. Rainbow Dragon, rock and roll marching for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, all involved in the production, distribution of food. Truckers on the road, always thinking about the firefighters, LOV, the butchers, those in the daycares who changed some of those diapers, you know. Today across North American Collective, it's North Americans United. I wish I would have been there with Trump and Trudeau to discuss some of the convergence of discussions. Due to the imposition of tariffs, the threat, basically the proposition to impose tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, that's going to be the meditation all week today. And I live the country, the greatest person I know, my anonymous friend, who wasn't my friend because of the money. Because I never had any, and in the past years, you know, until I accepted my neurodivergent position, neurodivergent mental psychic condition known as HFA, high functioning autism, and Asperger's. Hey, somebody wearing that red, my favorite color, but I gotta put up those gloves because it's getting on the cold side. I'm just gonna glove up. Gotta put those gloves. Getting on the minus side, I feel it now, feel like winter, but I don't mind winter, all seasons, all terrains, you know, on the mountain even when it snows. And I gotta be putting on the other glove because I need to cover a little bit on the glove side and make sure, of course, I get proper, because it's getting cold on the hands, make sure my thing is closed properly, because I don't want to be dropping on the hip. Here we go, marching over time. Every time is just beginning. Stretch before commencing all your bodily limbs. Push-ups, hawk squats, rock and roll. 24/7 geopolitics, 24/7 rock and roll. Dancing is my favorite sport. I love dancing. Dancing is my favorite sport. Fitness activity, just heard a little bit of dancing, and of course when I hear music I start to do a little bit of steps back and forth and circle roundabout, and some people looked and they laughed, which is good. Laughing and having humor is good, and I always dance, you know. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity, parallel with I love also boxing, great iron, marching dances, you know, as I do for years and years and years of COVID. And of course I am Asperger's, also known as HFA, so I'm neurodivergent, and I had my own struggles with it, you know, survived COVID. I always got to be thinking about the truckers now, public workers, those in the grocery store clerks, scanning some items, assisting in loading, unloading across North American complex, those in the fast food, flipping up some burgers, some cheeseburgers, some whatever the work that they're doing involved across the North American Collective. Is North American Collective Workers Party. Let's get it rolling. Public-private partnership, calling all to the Global Dragon Union. Gotta be meditating about the Canada Post strike. I have my own theories, the DRT, death fusion theory, of course, which is the only solution, as much as you will to argue. I gotta give some LOV to the firefighters of North America, Quebecer, Canadian North American, who was born in the USA 3 times in previous lives. 3 times, once as a woman, twice as a man. You get that 50-50 now. I always gotta be prudent and vigilant, of course. I live with my own hypervigilance due to my own trauma, and having survived a vicious surprise attack years ago. I'm not gonna go into detail, but here I gotta cross the street prudently, safely. I turn the head left or right, left or right 3 times, and it's a requirement, you know, because I'm in the public, so I got added responsibilities and duties and obligations. So when I see somebody hugging, that's good. It always gives me a little bit of hope and joy to see people hugging, kissing, and holding hands, because it's not all about money in Wall Street. If you made $1 million today, give 10% of $1 million is 100,000 divided by 4. That's 25,000 for food security. You can give for LGBT causes, women's sports leagues, and environmental causes. Break it down into 4 different causes. And of course, I would have been generous if I would have had now. I would have wished to have billions. And after Trump got elected officially on the 6th of November this year, 2024, I would have went and distributed. So I would have wanted to give to individuals who are vulnerable, whatever case may be, homeless. I would have given them 50,000 billions. If I would have been a billionaire, I would have went incognito, hoodie up, down dirty, hoodie up, with a hoodie up, down dirty, and I would have distributed across North America, like to different citizens and men, women, whatever the case may be. homeless. And I said, this is 50,000. You can change your life with this. If you have any addiction, bring them down and moderate, whatever the case may be. That would have been the second chance for somebody, you know, to give 50,000 or 44,700 US, 50,000 Canadian. You can live, stretch it for a year, 2, even 3 years, you know, to rent a room, rent a motel, hotel, and of course get a living or something doing. And we could have been restarting with that, several second chances. I know I had my own second chances, and I guess even third chances. Most people deserve, you know. You have to have some justice, and you know, I don't claim to be perfect or not to having, of course, that I'm perfect or that I have certain areas, of course, where I'm not totally. I have certain areas myself where I'm not that able, I'm not that capable, I'm not that good. Certain areas I'm mediocre, even of course my abilities are not. In some things I'm mediocre, in some things I'm average, in some things I'm so myself. So now that when it comes to geopolitics, to the matter of fact that I predicted what's happening now, unfolding now across the North American Collective back in 2019. In October, November, I have proof, because I got the video online still, and I have proof of work, what I'm saying, that back in 2019, of course, I predicted an international conflagration. I predicted an international conflagration based on several levels of analysis, some factors of analysis, of which, of course, I am an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. And it's pretty much 24/7 geopolitics, so the event of today, but it's a secondary event, because now for the month of December, actually until Trump gets elected, that's the main geopolitical event for me, until Trump, not elected, but until, of course, he's inaugurated. The main event is, of course, the imposition of tariffs, possible imposition of tariffs, a lot. In percentages, 25% is a lot. The first time Trump imposed tariffs is when I started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Still do. Let's get that North American People's Imperial Coliseum, build it on the Canadian-US border. The North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, and coupled with the Forgotten Goddess Temple vis-a-vis, one next to the other. I will build a mega coliseum by a public-private partnership. Everything that I do or call is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. Of course, the North American Collective today, although I'm financially stressed, I'm gotta be saying that I'm joyous, with gratitude is great for mental health. So I got my dream, the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership across the collective North American civilizational complex, basically across North America. So that is part of my ongoing dream, and of course it's part of my ongoing dream in terms of that it's a dream, but it's also based on realities, geopolitical realities, economic and feasibilities for today's world, not in the realm of just abstract. It's actually can be done in a practical manner. The building of the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and I only need a pyramid, the House of the Dragon, and that's what I got with that. And here I am, you know, on another march, another rock and roll march, and the main event, like I said, in terms of analysis and correspondence, to actually think, and I have several solutions which I believe can be implemented now today. The solutions which can be, of course, implemented are, of course, vis-a-vis the tariffs, because the imposition of 25% tariffs on all all goods imported from Canada, means exported from Quebec, Canada, into the United States. It's a big number. It's 25 cents for every dollar. 25 cents for every dollar. 25 cents for every dollar is a big number. You know? It's a big number. That's a big number, right? It's, in 2018, Trump and Trump administration imposed 10% tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel. 10% is 10 cents per dollar. And that's when I got into politics, really, because I was more independent on the sidelines, artist, athlete, philosopher, but that was the event. And I said no, because I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American. I was born in the US 3 times, once as a man, correction, once as a woman, twice as a man, was born as a man, post 76, in the same US Army, 156 years apart. Served in the same army, 2 different wars, 156 years apart. I believe I'm a mystic who believes in reincarnations, and I was born right here, close by the mountain, where that's the mountain Mount Royal, my second home there. You can see it, downtown core area starts to be visible a bit. I got to give a little bit of shout out to the Hydro-Quebec workers of the past 20th century and present. That's why I got the electricity in my smartphone to be able to record it and post it on YouTube, maybe get some collaboration, some LOV, and some businesses. I am open for business, although financially stressed, and so many things I don't know, around the North American complex. I know we got to get that North American Union, North Americans unite, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, for that defense security service. My protocols as an artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, honest, and theorist, and mystic, Quebecer, Canadian, North American. We got to get it for that world peace as well, but because I can be a world citizen, but fundamentally I know North America. This island, really, Montreal Island, metropolis. I live on an island surrounded by a big river. We're surrounded by a big river here. I live on an island. Metropolis is populated like 2.5 million people, so it's like a big metropolis. Second biggest, most populated in Canada. The 7th or 8th, top 10 in North America. And you can see part of the downtown core area there. That's far. And where that red light is, that is, of course, the red light there. That is Mount Royal, but we're about 25 kilometers, right? 25 kilometers or so, depending which route we take. We're far off from the mountain right now. We're far off, so we're not close to the mountain. In other words, we're not close to the mountain, to Mount Royal. But anyways, you can see part of the downtown core area there as I'm trying to place a camera so you can get a vision of, I'm on the bridge, built by the public workers. I gotta give some salutations. Public workers of the past. LOV to the public workers of today. Thank you for picking up the garbage, the compost, the recycling. They're athletes also. Please, NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Please reduce the costs of the tickets by 44.9% across North America. Let's go. That NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Give a little bit of that discount. Give a little bit of charity, millionaires, billionaires, and give the firefighters some free tickets. Public workers, firefighters, those who pick up the garbages, the recycling, the garbage. I got 3 services. Garbage, recycling, compost, recycling, garbage, compost, recycling. So those are the 3. So those are my 3 ones. And there's Montreal, downtown Korea. There's Montreal, downtown Korea. There's Montreal. You can see the lights, and you can see the Hawk Island, Montreal. You can see the Montreal, Mount Royal right there. You can see Mount Royal right there. You can see it. I mean, I can see it in the camera. It's not maybe that visible, but nonetheless, the red lights flashing. That's my second home, where we often go. I was about to go today, but I said, it didn't reach there by sunset, and the sun was already down, because now the days are getting shorter until the 24th of December. But I said we're gonna go. Last time we went east. Yesterday we went east. Correction. Yesterday we went west, right? Yesterday we went west that way, right? We went west that way. So today we're actually gonna go by the side, and we're gonna go, of course, west towards the city, but by the sidelines there. So where that train passes. Got to give a shout out to the train conductors. LOV to the train conductors. Rainbow Dragon, play it 50-50. You get that androgynous pansexual. When I discuss my theories, propositions, sometimes you gotta forget that I'm weird, Asperger's and HFA, and part of the LGBTQ community, and queer and rainbow, and half, 50-50 androgynous. I'm a man and I'm a woman. I'm that rainbow, played black and white. Always for the workers, for the nurses, for the doctors, for those train conductors. And see how my mind works. My Aspie mind, when you're an Aspie, if you have Asperger's, also known as HFA, high functioning autism, I speak myself as an individual Aspie, part of the community, a minority, because it's less than 1% of the whole human population. Less than 0.44%. 0.44%. Less than 0.45%. An estimated 0.44% of the human population only has Asperger's. I think LGBTQ is like in the 5 percentile. Not Aspies. Aspies were minority. There's not that many with HFA like myself, but they are more and more in the 20th century. And it's a neurological mental divergent condition. It's not a mental illness. It's just that we are socially awkward. We have obsessive interests. And those interests preoccupy our mental, psychic capacities and involvements, and super hyper focused and concentration when we are involved in those certain areas. And those certain areas, like now when I see the train passing, I'm putting it in one of my the Holy Trinity of obsessive interest, of which one is geopolitics, in parallel with sports and fitness, and dancing being my favorite sport and fitness activity, and rock and roll. So now I'm putting that train, which I just saw passing there, the train, I'm putting it in the geopolitical perspective in terms of doing a defense analysis. And of course, when you deal with geopolitics, war is the worst, I guess, of the geopolitical activity, and of course the most important one in terms of geopolitical interactions of nation states, regions, and civilization, war. And of course the potential of sabotage by foreign actors, different actors, and of course now we got involved, not myself personally, but of course our governments respectively took positions and even funded armaments and military gear to certain countries who are at war, certain nation states. And so we made potential enemies which might take direct action internally in Canada and the US. It's possible. And from what we know, they already have started in the past weeks, months, and the past years, since at least during COVID and the Russia-Ukraine conflict, which is the biggest conflict in Europe. But I'm not on the ground there, so as much as I am very well versed, and it's my realm, my kingdom, my domain, geopolitics, I can only make analysis, but at the end of the day, my initiatives, my protocols, and my initiatives and calls are fundamentally for North America, because I'm a North American, Canadian, Quebecer, and I believe we're going to need to play that defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball, play that defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball. We're going to play that defense like that hardball ball, aka blackout ball, right? So now I'm putting all the context of course, the highways which you utilize, the train systems. It's a major area where potential sabotage can be involved with the trucks. They carry so much food. Food is essential for the continuity of civilization and for survival. The food, and of course the petrol. So a lot of our transportation in Canada here, we're very dependent on the train systems. And in 2017, when I crossed Canada coast to coast, that event changed my whole life. I got out of being depressed and suicidal. And of course, I went from Montreal to Halifax, Nova Scotia. It took 25 hours and 44 minutes. 25 hours and 44 minutes. I still have the tickets, auctioning them for $1 million is everything that I'm willing to give half 50% to my anonymous friend. So auctioning them. So that was 25 hours and 44 minutes. So more than a day, Montreal to Halifax. And in 2017, before that event, I was depressed, suicidal, and that event made me realize how many things I have to do in Canada, North America, to do. And I did lots of work, independent work, had a lot of jobs, different jobs in different places. But with Asperger's, also known as HFA, it's a problem we encounter until we get financially well off and we get business and cooperation where we're understood and appreciated, because there's got to give a shout out to my friend, to my anonymous friend, where Asperger's, I'm reading a new book. It's understanding Asperger's and even appreciating it, because it has certain positives, such as we are very good at our obsessive interests. We can see angles to the point that geopolitics for years and years has been my obsessive interest, as fitness and sports. And I created paradoxically a workout training program system to go hand in hand with with the geopolitical dimensions which I predicted back in 2019, which are unfolding now according to a general manner, not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. I predicted an international conflagration, aka World War III, which is what's unfolding now across North America and the world. across the world, what's unfolding now across the world. In a general manner, not in an overall manner. So yesterday we went that way. We went west, west, west. West, west, west. We went west, west, west that way. Now today we're gonna go east. So yesterday we went west. Today we're gonna go north. Yesterday we went south, west. Now we're gonna go northeast. So yesterday we went south, west. Today we're gonna go northeast. Yesterday we went southwest. It's gonna be like a line southwest, and now we're gonna go northeast. So like kind of opposite direction is gonna be like a kind of the letter A, I guess. Letter A, or whatever, if you want to put the steps to visualize the steps that we're gonna do. So basically, yesterday I came south and I went west. Today I'm going north east from this point, I guess, or the point there, because that's where we were at the same place yesterday when I made the purchase. Of course, I bought the wafers that I discussed, of course, that they used to be $1 and they went to 125, and that's exactly what Trump is threatening to impose, exactly the parity per se per dollar. Of course, 25% is 25 cents. Right? So that is the imposition. So back to what I was saying is that 2019 I predicted an international conflagration. And of course I created a workout training program system which is simple, effective, efficient, which requires no equipment, of which myself have performed online hundreds, more than 372 online, on Facebook, on YouTube. They're still there, the videos over the years of COVID, and I survived COVID. COVID was like death, pestilence, and disease. COVID for me was like death, pestilence, and disease. COVID for me was like death, pestilence, and disease, you know. COVID, when I had it, was hardcore. I thought I was gonna die, and in many ways I died over there. In my dragon's lair I died, and I'm being reborn, and I gotta take a minute because it's not all about me, and we have the privilege of civilization. You know, we have the privilege of civilization. That is my thesis, which I presented back in 2023. The privilege of civilization, and you know, all the things we got, including Hydro-Quebec, to have all these lights, all the labor it took into 20th century, decades to build the highways, the trains, and the lights, to have all the civilization. And now I'm just thinking, doing a meditation about all the trucks, all the truckers and the trucks and all the goods that they have inside of them across Quebec, across Canada, across North America, because I'm a North American geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, and of course I do not know what exactly, but I am calling for a North American census, financial and social audit and census, a total North American integrated, based on my theory, financial, and social census, to make a common passport and a common currency based on my DRT, debt refusion theory. That's what I would have willed to discuss with, of course, Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. Friday when they went to the dinner, I would have probably had to have my friend over, and the greatest person I know, who wasn't my friend because of the money, but in order to be aware that at the dinner I might have I'm less able in certain social circumstances. I'm less able in certain social circumstances. I'm less able in certain social circumstances. I am less able in certain social circumstances. Less able in certain social circumstances. Less able in certain social circumstances. Less able. While I'm able in other things, I'm less able in some things, and that's it. That's all with that. And here we're gonna go. You see the railway. So I have my abilities in geopolitics, dancing, and rock and roll for the truckers on the road. Let's go. For the North America, you know, for the workers, Rainbow Dragon puts on a little bit of good show. Good show, it's not only for the dough. When I sing and I better see y'all, black and white and rainbow doing some of that hugging. Hugging and that kissing, money is not all of it. Gotta get for what you got. Gotta get for what you got. So now we're gonna go east. East. So yesterday we went over there. West, deep west for kilometers and miles, like 13.3 kilometers, 13.4 kilometers. We went a lot because it was a long video. So now we're gonna go all the way. We're gonna go the opposite, east. Yesterday we went west, so it's gonna be like a Z. For some reason made me think of World War Z, but it's a movie I saw during COVID. And I had COVID, thought I was gonna die, but when I had it, there was no mention, of course, of COVID per se. So there was not a mention of COVID. When I had it, people were not using the terminology COVID. I had it right at the beginning, February, March. So COVID started appearing, or the terminology started being in the news afterwards. So afterwards, the terminology started arising afterwards, after I had the COVID, after I survived my COVID, which I gotta say was pretty hardcore, to be honest, and I thought that was it. When I had it, I thought that was it. And even before, when I was surprised attack years ago, and before that, my memories, there's a blackout. I have kind of like RA and blackouts of memory. And I remember being attacked by surprise in the Montreal Metro, hit my head, dislocated my shoulder, went to the hospital, was kind of replaced, and had my own, was out for a few days. I thought that was it also. They tried to take me out, I guess. But here I am, 3rd of December 2024. Some ideas, some protocols, an artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, honest, and theorist. Rainbow Dragon, Adrian, Hana Dragon. Going for the X, for the Y, for the Z, and always for the butchers, always for the bakers, always for the nurses, always for the doctors, always for the grocery store clerks, always for the cooks, always for those who change some diapers in the daycares. Gotta be thinking about them also. Firefighters, LOV, butchers, bakers, nurses, plumbers, carpenters, all those involved in the production and the distribution of food across North America. I gotta give a little bit of LOV to the. Gotta give a little bit of LOV. What's that? Gotta give a little bit of LOV to the firefighters, to the cooks, those in the fast food, flipping some burgers, some cheeseburgers now. Got mad respect. Those making some coffees, warehouse workers, those on the docks. Always got to be sending some love. As an independent artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical, theoretical, honest, and theorist, and mystic who's financially struggling, but I paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, paid my rent, got food, got those biscuits when I return. That's gonna be my little treat. $1.50 biscuits. First time I purchased 288 grams is not bad. 288 grams is not bad, eh? For $1.50 Canadian, $200. Correction. $1.50, so less than $2, and of course, less than $2, but it's still 288 grams. So, in terms of the grams, it's pretty valuable. The value for the dollar per the quantity, I mean. Quality wise, I don't know, because I never purchased that before, so I'm exploring the more affordable products, being myself financially precarious, vulnerable, I guess. Vulnerable, but hey, I got trillions of kisses, I got some steps, I got some push-ups, I got some ideas, I got more marching steps than the generals of NATO flex. I got more marching steps than the generals of NATO flex. I got more marching steps than the generals of NATO yet. I marched more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. Auctioning the boots, a few million to give 50% to my anonymous friend. And, that's what it's gonna be. And That's what it's gonna be with, and that's what we're gonna try to get it with, and that's what we're gonna try to do it, and that's what it is, and that's how we LOV, 24/7, and it's something which we gotta be on the mindful of, on the gratitude, and always thinking about somebody that making good loving, good hugging now, tonight, maybe that black and white and rainbow, and whatever the case may be. Here we are on the doing. They're going east, I'm going west. I'm going actually east now. Yesterday we went west. Sometimes you gotta go north, you gotta go south, and here I am parallel with nature and civilization. I'm just gonna sing a little bit because just gotta do a little stretch. Just gotta do a little stretch. Gotta throw them, gotta fetch. Gotta living for the best, gotta living for the rest, gotta live it for the upset, gotta live it for the rest. For those going on the bout, going on another round, going for another sound, going for another blast, going for another rest, going for another rep, going for another set, going for another do, going for another you, going for the you, for the me and for the do, for those on the road. Gotta giving them some loving, gotta give me some hugging, gotta give me for dues, gotta give me for use. Gotta give for those Hydro-Quebec workers. Hey, this is why we got all these lights. Imagine all the work in the 20th century. Got 63 dams. We need to build some more, we need to build some more. We need to build some more dams. We definitely need to build some more dams. See? How much circulation across North America. Just, of course, keep in mind that this is the entrance to a metropolis, right? So, it's the entrance to a metropolis. So, of course, we have trucks, because this is the second most populated city in Canada. It was the first until 2009, I believe. Just recently, in the past 15 years, it became the second, taken over by Toronto. Toronto now is the first populated center of Canada. The number one in terms of population. Montreal second. I believe Ottawa is third. And then Quebec, and then of course Calgary, Vancouver, Regina. So Montreal is in the 7th or 8th. It's in the top 10 most populated centers, city metropolises of North America. Parallel with New York and Mexico City and Los Angeles. My city's second favorite city is San Francisco, Montreal, Hawk Island, H-A-W-K, aka Montreal. Montreal is AKA, also known as H-A-W-K, Hawk Island, like my totem bird, the Hawks. And we got Hawks, and I can only now imagine, because it's tough times, and I can encourage all to work out, train, exercise, and working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. There you can see the shop. So there's the shop where in other videos where you can see we start sometimes close to their palace. So all this here, that's a big shopping center. So this is a place of nature preservation. It's called the Falaise. And in other videos you see me eating some wild berries here, blueberries, wild berries, and wild berries, blueberries, wild berries, and that's what it is with that. And here we go in the back of that Super C, a shop there, and how we go shopping sometimes. I think some in the videos, and you see that we need to do a lot of cleaning here, a lot of cleaning for the environment, and we need to get that DGA, Dancing Goddess Army. We need to get that DGA, and dancing is my favorite sports and fitness activity, and Rainbow Dragon is aka Priestess, Hana Priestess, Hana Priestess, Hana Priestess, Hana Priestess of the Goddess, so we gotta get it we gotta get it now, and it's the Priestess as well, get 2 in 1, and that's how we need to be doing with that, and that's what we need to be doing with XYZ, and we gotta get it for the LOV, so it's sometimes which we gotta do on the LOV, so it's sometimes which we gotta do for the loves. It's not all about the money, And us here, we love our French language, which I'm gonna switch in a bit. Just gonna drill it a bit, and gonna discuss, of course, my Trinity of theories and my counter proposals, and hopefully the tariffs are going to be avoided, because 25%, last time it was 10% on aluminum and steel, and that's when I started challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match. Thank you, anonymous friend, for providing those gloves, red gloves, and provided those gloves, and I still have them, auctioning them for $1 million, because I worked out, I lost lots of weight in them, So I started my fitness journey in 2017. I lost between 80 and 93 pounds, LOV to train conductors of North America, the trains. We need to reinvest massive infrastructure. We need rebuilding of the mass infrastructure. We need a massive public-private partnership. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, that's what it is fundamentally. And here I'm going out the east and meditating and worried a bit, because I believe they're fundamentally North American. We constitute an entity, and we need to get that North American Union just like the EU. We need to get that North American Union just like the European Union. We need to get that North American Union just like the European Union. We need to get that North American Union just like the European Union. And here we made great compromises. The great linguistic compromise of the French language, what I call the great linguistic compromise of the French language. Of course, we love our French. We love our French here. We're 10 million Quebecers, and we build hydroelectric dams and bring metropolis and great farms and great culture, great cuisine. We got lots. We got even cheese and wine and sweets and culture and theater, and we build highways and we build aqueducts. We build Montreal, Quebec City. We build a lot. We're gonna build more. We're gonna be able to build more in the 21st century. But we just made the great linguistic compromise. And to my brothers and sisters, blacks, black men, black women, of course, we're 13.4% of the North American population. Are my brothers and sisters who are blacks. We have sometimes racism, sometimes it's feelings against, or subconscious against others who are different than us, or we might have lived some experiences with certain individuals which of course have a certain impact, so we tend to generalize certain stereotypes, and sometimes we have some tendencies, but at the end of the day, we're North Americans, and my neighbors included are black. I live there where I live now in the Dragon's Lair for more than 7 years, and if I would have stayed where I used to live, I would have probably been dead or in jail. But here I am, meditating about North America, seeing all these trucks. It's of course now special because now is actually the rush hour right now. It's rush hour, so I don't even know what time it is, but must be close to 6 o'clock, close to something like that. So let's try to avoid as much as possible those tariffs. They're really not needed. We don't need tariffs, 25%. We need the UE, the Universal Exchange. We need to unite like they did in the European Union back a decade ago in the 90s. It's time. Canada, US, North American Democratic Republic, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, the North American Democratic Republic, a public-private partnership. We need to initialize more public-private partnerships, and we need to do a lot of environmental cleaning and mass infrastructure renewal across North America. We already have integrated electric grids, from Hydro-Quebec, clean, zero pollution, zero emission. It all comes from water, hydroelectricity, and it goes all the way to 5, 6, even 6 states, all the way to Manhattan Island, receives approximately 1/5, which is 20% of the electricity from Hydro-Quebec, clean hydroelectricity. So imagine all the work, the labor in the 20th century. Now have a little flash. Thank you. Sending some LOV, I guess, some encouragement across the space-time continuum, with matter and energies, and I guess God, goddess, I say goddess, God, God, goddess with the elements, who knows the mystery of all the elements, and as we stand here on the verge of potential nuclear war, Third World War, which I put a question mark when I predicted it in 2019 in October, November, that we're going to have an international conflagration. It was about 50-50 use of nuclear weaponry, but there was, in my scenario, there was use of bioweaponry. So bioweapons in my scenario of 2019. And I don't know, COVID, I believe it was snakes, transmitted from snakes to human beings, but Could it be something else? I don't know for sure. I know I had it and before, and I almost died. I thought that was it again for me several times, I guess. And here I'm now marching, meditating, and thinking about defense perspectives and scenarios for defense. Only for defense, security, and service, and regeneration, renewal for the 21st century, in a centrist manner, of course, in a public-private partnership, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, a public-private partnership, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, fundamentally a public-private partnership across the North American collective civilizational complex across North America. Gotta keep it on the march steps, and gotta meditate, and, all that we have in common here, we have so many things in common, and we gotta, my propositions, my documents, my philosophies, such as the one, of course, being for the North American Democratic Republic, for the North American Democratic Republic, for the Republic of North America, for the North American Collective, for those initializations, which are, of course, part of where we are now, and part of where we are as a collective, as a civilizational complex, as, of course, somebody who's here, who's here now. So many things I don't know, so many things I do know. Seeing those airplanes, I know that one's going north, the other's going south. The other's going south, the other's going north, the other's going north-south. That I know, but how many passengers, what exactly is it, I don't know. That I do know is that we got NORAD, and we got to get that Hawk initiative for the sky defense and build up, open up some 44 tunnels, in case of thermonuclear war. In case of thermonuclear war, we got to open 44 tunnels based on, of course, the tunnel which is built, the underground city in Montreal, underground. So we need to mass mobilize and mass do it, and we got to get a new password, and we have to put a North American census, social financial census, and BNS got to chip in for the creation of the UE. The Universal Exchange Unit is the only solution now. We're aware of the public finances, my brothers and sisters. You can argue all you want. I'm going to discuss it, and there's no other way. There's no other way. But the UE, paradoxically, I put on the table, I present the Universal Exchange Unit for the creation of the DRT, Debt Refusion 2, that is, for the creation of the Universal Exchange Unit, because that's the only solution now. I say this with utmost clarity, as much as I am socially weird and awkward, and have weird movements, bodily movements, and have certain dimensions of self which are due to my Asperger's condition, and I live with HFA, I live with it, and been, I guess, depressed, suicidal because of it, and there's a lot of misunderstandings what it is, and certain cases, I guess, we seem abrasive, or we seem rude, or we seem more direct, but I make an effort to be as polite as I can. Well, politeness and kind, I try to make an effort without, but it's not as some, I guess, more direct than rude in certain things, or certain things we might seem insensitive, or we don't have empathy. It's not that, it's that we show our empathy. We show our empathy and compassion by action. We show our empathy and compassion by action. But we show our empathy and compassion by action. And at least I'm speaking as an individual aspie, an individual citizen of the Quebec, Canada, of the North American complex who has HFA. So we would show it by what can I do in a certain circumstances of offering something if I'm able to do. Let's say you're sore and you're my friend. Friends with benefits only from now on. 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 Pledge your allegiance, legions to our family. 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 And here we are on the go, thousands of trucks, thousands of cars, my fellow brothers and sisters, because I consider your family, Quebecers, Canadians, and all Quebecers, Canadians, all, of course, train conductors, and established a strong esprit de corps with fellow Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans in 2017 when I crossed Canada coast to coast, in August and September, when I crossed Canada coast to coast, in August and September, I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event in my life made me change, made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. And see now, because I saw the train, and the train there, I can see it clearly with my eye. Well, not that clearly, because from a distance I kind of see blurred. But I see, the movement and kind of like a little bit of the shapes. But my vision from afar, it's paradoxical. It seems to be better afar in the night. At night, it seems to be better when I'm looking at far objects. But during the day, it seems like I don't see that far. Sometimes during the day, I don't see that far. Sometimes during the day, I don't see that far. So whatever the case may be with that is gotta do it for the. But now that one's going west. The train now is going west. It's a long one. It's going west. It seems like it has a lot of cargo. So my mind, meaning that, being that I have geopolitics as an obsessive interest, my mind switches now to meditate on the geopolitical context and the geopolitical factors of which we live on today, meaning that there could be external financing of sabotaging our trains, sabotage for our trains, to sabotage, our trains, for sabotaging our trains. So that's a possibility from external actors, and to who might do just that, due to the fact that, of course, we got involved. We're sending financial aid, not just humanitarian aid, but financial and military aid. So kind of proxy, we're supporting by proxy conflicts which might have state actors and non-state actors and mercenaries and nation states, which might foment sabotage and internal domestic activities here in the interior of Quebec, Canada, North America, and the North American. So I'm thinking always as a North American, Quebecer Canadian, as a Quebecer Canadian North American, as much as I do know, and I preoccupy myself 24/7 with geopolitics. As, of course, today, the main event is the South Korea. President Yoon declared martial law, first time since, I believe, 1984, something like that. Since the 80s, there hasn't been that state of martial law. Declaring martial law, meaning that is suspension of habeas corpus and many civil rights and imposition of rule with the military law. Martial law is extreme emergency cases. Martial law is extreme and emergency cases. So again, back to my analysis, that's a conflict which was not resolved from the 20th century. So they still have an unresolved conflict. Which dates to the 20th century. Like here in North America, we made the great linguistic compromise. With my brothers and sisters, 13.3, 13.4, including my neighbors, are black brothers and sisters who are blacks. I believe we're North American. We're also a new civilizational complex, though. North America, we are an emergent civilizational complex, an emergent one, because we have over the centuries, and now in the past 20th century, we are an emergent. We're not totally divorced from Western civilization, but we are distinct. So we're not divorced, but distinct from Western civilization. So we have a North American, social, cultural, economic, even military, defensive, and infrastructure as well. Complexes which in the 20th century have become more integrated on all levels, even sports. Take the NHL, National Hockey League, is not really national. It's really binational, but it's called the NHL, NBA as well. It's not really national, it's binational. The NHL, National Hockey League, and not just that, but that's in the specific cultural sports sports arena, just sports and culture, and of course English, and we got French, and myself I learned some Spanish because Mexico's part of North America. Mexico's part of North America. Haiti, Jamaica. Cuba is a paradox because they're socialist communists, but there's Cuba is the paradox, but Cuba is still part of North America, this civilizational sphere of North America, of which is multidimensional, multifaceted, but it's an emergent one. It's a new civilizational complex, or a North American civilizational complex, because it's not core unified as a civilization, but it's a civilizational complex, an emergent one. That was again one of my philosophies and my theories, which of course I can begin and go on and on about, but just remember to summarize it is that our civilizational complex of North America is based on a common denominator, and that common denominator is of course the fact that we're not divorced totally, but we are distinct from Western civilization, to sum it up under the umbrella terms or more general terms of constituting civilizations, right? Or past, present, and future, because it's an emergent civilizational complex, North America. So back to the Dragon versus Trump, still challenging Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Let's build that North American people's Imperial Coliseum. Let's build that North American people's Imperial Coliseum together. Let's build that North American people's Imperial Coliseum. Let's build that North American people's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple and the Forgotten Goddess Temple together, and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, North American people's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple. That's what we need to build together with the Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, and the implementation of a CIT, the CIT Citizen Integration Theory, the DFT, Democratic Fusion Theory, and DRT, Debt Fusion Theory. So we need to do the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, the DRT, Debt Fusion Theory, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, and the DFT, the Democratic Fusion Theory. That's all we need to do, and here we are today for the XYZ, and here we are on the go on the side of the woods, in the woods, in the nature, parallel to civilization, right there where they pass, of course, so many cars, and you can count them, but they're by the thousands and the hundreds of thousands across North America. Keep in mind, I'm a metropolis. I live on an island, metropolis city, Montreal, so there's a huge amount of cars and huge amount of trucks, and always meditating about the infrastructure complex and potential, of course, of sabotage by certain actors in terms of sabotaging trains or even trucks, and in terms of reaching for the food security, because transportation wise, depending on the trucks and the trains, so it's only from a defensive perspective to defend coast to coast, and of course the infrastructure is something as an independent philosopher, geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist, that always my mind being with Asperger's, that geopolitics is my obsessive interest, and that's a continuum. It's continuously with intensity and concentration. We Aspies who have HFA, high functioning autism, also known as Asperger's, were deeply concentrated and involved in our obsessive interest, and my holy trinity: geopolitics 24/7, rock and roll 24/7, sports and fitness, and dancing is my favorite fitness and sport activity. So that's my holy trinity of obsessive interests, and when I am involved, I'm really intense about it and concentrated in it for years and years and years, and that's what I do morning 24/7, geopolitics, rock and roll, fitness, dancing, sports. That's really all that's happening at studying and being involved and studying, and I need to have others, IT workers and butchers, bakers, plumbers, carpenters, and all workers for the North American Collective Workers Party 21st Century. Let's get it going. North American Collective Workers Party, let's get it going. The North American Collective Party, the North American Collective Workers Party. Let's get the North American Collective Workers Party going. And here we are, we got some lights, we got some lights in it, and gotta thank that Hydro-Quebec, and we gotta build more new highways, more hydroelectric dams to have more energy independence in North American Collective. And the Dragon versus Trump, of course, I would have said that we gotta get it on the go and build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. And now, of course, the imposition of 25% tariffs of 25% starting January 20th, when Donald Trump will be inaugurated and commence his second term. His second term commence, and I'm asking for supporting of the dream, my dream, the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is fundamentally a public-private partnership call to create two complementary, covenant and cooperative institutions: the Dragon Army, North American Citizen Security and Service Force, North American Citizen Security and Service Force, North American Security Service and Defense only force for the 21st century, based on some of my philosophies: the DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, that DGA, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League, the North American Integrated Dance League. And here we are now. Another train passes. My mind switches to geopolitics, and what's it carrying? It looks like cargo, and cargo, meditating from where does it come from, the cargo, what's in it, the cargo. So we got to get that North American, all citizens, mobile integration, the citizenry and public security forces integrated to make a great North American financial, economic and social census, to see who's lived here from, let's say, the past 7 years, and in Canada, who's lived here in the past 7 years, and who has come in the past 7 years, and from where, and in terms of being secured and building supercomputers and public-private partnership to issue new North American passport, North American ID cards. And we need to get rid of the border. We need to get rid of the border and to integrate our public security forces, Canada, US first, and with the other which we got, whatever the case may be. And we need to make a census, a total financial, social and economic and social audit and census. And we need to know information, for example, on what is it this is transporting. I know it's going west. It's probably coming from the ports, because it was docks, and we got import-export, but we have to make a great North American social audit and census, and we got to implement my DRT. See how my mind works now? It's always meditating in terms of geopolitics, and how our economic financial structures, and how my theory is the only solution now at this point in time. Whoa, that's a long train. Thank you, train conductors. Got to give some loving to the train conductors, those who build the trains, the railways in the 20th century, and we're gonna build the railways today, and the maintenance. Thank you. Sending some rock and roll to them. Always thinking about them. For the North American Collective Workers Party, for the train conductors, all the trains, the brains, the muscle. Civilization really is a privilege, eh? Civilization really is a privilege, eh? All the transportation systems which we have, and here we got some of these lights. If I keep on going by that side or turn around about, and I guess we came over here, and we can go circumvent it and go by the other side, I guess, or go down and then go on the upside. Let's do that, I guess. We can do a little bit of U-turn here and stretch, do some squats, turn my head left and right, do a little bit of stretching, and we can go right back in and get some more steps going. And let's go by the side, I guess. If we can go by the side until here, then we can turn it, and just gonna go up to there, I guess, and then turn around about and see how much. I want to see how much it takes me in terms of minutes to make the marching, to make until the other side. So I'm just gonna do a U-turn, see all that, those bridges. So I'm gonna make a U-turn, and then now I'm heading back west, and then gonna head back to my headquarters. See here, so that's basically what I'm doing. Basically, I'm turning back, but I'm still on the march, right? So I will to discuss my DRT, if I can make a little bit of fundamental again on the Trump tariffs, and we gotta find alternatives, and maybe we can credit some to my American brothers and sisters in terms of tourism. Give them 25% discount on all goods. If they come tourists, they come by takes a public-private partnership. If they come by the plane, or if they come to get a little bit of that hotel, if they come to get a little bit of motel, if they come, of course, to get some goods, some whatever the case may be, goods or services or whatever we can do with that, and gotta get it for that, and maybe do an alternative. I have some ideas, but nonetheless. So now we're heading back on the go, and traversed a little bit and did a little bit of that zigzag, I guess, from yesterday. We went the opposite, and kind of like a Z, kind of like a big Z, huge Z from above, kilometers, I guess, miles of Z, big Z, miles. I'm just imagining from above like a satellite, like the steps yesterday, southwest, and now today, northeast. So now I'm willing to discuss, of course, my DRT, but before that, of course, I want to give a shout out again and salute the train conductors, butchers, bakers, those in the warehouse workers today, those in the daycares who changed some diapers in the daycares, the butchers, those on the trains, in the buses, IT workers, thinking about those word installations of the 3G, 4G, 5G networks, and how we got those, a little bit of that science tech. And I know that in theory, all communications can be intercepted by a third party. In theory, all communications can be intercepted by a third party. In theory, all communications can be intercepted by a third party, in theory. But my theory, the DRT best. My theory, the DRT best. My theory, the DRT best now for the North American Collective. So I'm going to discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory, since it is the only solution. It's a paradox that I'm able to present it and put it on the table, due, of course, to the fact that I have Asperger's and geopolitics is my obsessive interest, and having studied geopolitics, and of course I involve 24/7 in the study, the analysis of geopolitics. It is something, of course, which I am a little bit proud to present a financial theory which is the only solution to where we are now with the fiscal public, with the public finances. So now there's no other solution but my DRT theory, the debt refusion theory. That is the only solution. There's no way around my DRT, the debt refusion theory, the debt refusion theory, the D, debt R refusion T theory, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange, and for the creation of the universal exchange. So I'm going to explain it as simple as I can in simple terms, because due to the fact that with Asperger's, HFA, there's symptoms that we Aspies have in common, such as echolalia, such as getting too close to people in conversations, such as repetitive words or phrases or weird social interactions and mannerisms. And we also have a symptom which we have a tendency to utilize too much sophisticated verbose, intellectual, and academic linguistics and language, which is not prepositions, or is not effective in that point in time. Is not effective at that point in time. Is not effective at that point in time. So that's what it is, and that's what it is with that. That's what it is with that. That's what it is with that. That's what it is with that, and that's autism, HFA, high functioning autism. So back to what I was saying. So the DRT, debt refusion theory. DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UAD. Debt R refusion T theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. Why do I make that statement? Due to the fact that we now pay 46.5 billion in interest, 46.5 billion in interest, 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount of interest only that we pay on the public debt, 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest. That's the amount of interest we pay on the public debt. 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. A billion is 1,000 million. A billion is 1,000 million. That's a billion is 1,000 million. So 46.5 billion is 46,000 million. That's the amount of debt servicing. In other words, the interest we pay on the public debt of this fiscal year. In 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. Of course, due to COVID, we had to implement protocols in order to salvage a population in crises. But nonetheless, it more than doubled. Do the math. 20.3 times 2 would have been 40.6 billion. Now it's 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. That's 46,000 million just debt servicing. That is, in other words, paying the interest. The interest we pay, it's 46,000 million on the Canadian public debt. You can check Bank of Canada, my auntie, Christia Freeland auntie, and Tiff Mackler of Bank of Canada. Check the numbers. It's public numbers. I put the pictures in November 2023 last year. And of course, my DRT, I gotta say, it's been inspired by an anonymous acquaintance who about, I believe maybe even 7 years ago or so, gifted 7 or 6 years ago, gifted a book for the holidays. I think I received it on the 24th of December for Christmas, and I read it like 7 times. I wrote on it, and it partly inspired me, the DRT theory. It was a bit on the conspiratorial, esoteric, occult side, so it had a bit of occultism, esoteric, and conspiracy theories in it. It had some conspiracy theories, some occult, some esoteric, but it had great information and knowledge and real information about ancient Egyptian banking, ancient Babylonian, ancient Roman, ancient China, and ancient, of course, empires like Spanish Empire and the Spanish Empire, like the ancient Spanish Empire, and the financing of Christopher Columbus' voyage was addressed there, the financing of Christopher Columbus. But it was mostly dealing with the 2007-2010 financial crisis, the great financial crisis, which was about 3.5 years between 2007 July and about late 2010. The great financial crisis, which began 2007. So it had some information which was really knowledgeable and really accurate, but it had some conspiratorial, esoteric, occult side parallel. But nonetheless, it inspired me, the DRT party. So to my anonymous friend who gifted me that great book, and I had to recycle it because I wrote so much on it, and I just wrote on it, and it was just writing on it so much. So I really had to, of course, get rid of it. So I had to recycle it. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. We pay 46.5 billion in interest. It more than doubled in 3 years due to COVID. During COVID, it more than doubled. The debt servicing, it's about to collapse. We're not going to be able to pay the firefighters. We're not going to be able to pay all the public institutions. The garbage collection, public sanitation, the collection of the garbage, the recycling, the compost, public services, firefighters is not sustainable. And it's not. It cannot continue. It's about to be a collapse soon. Next year it could be starting now. It is December. It could start now. There's no way. But the DRT, debt refusion theory. So here it is explained as simply as possible. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. My private debt is $10,000 to the RBC. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. My debt is $10,000 to the RBC. So we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. My debt is $10,000 to the RBC. We're gonna take all the public and the private debt. My debt is $10,000 to the RBC. So all the debt, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, of the individual, the public and the private debt. Due to the fact that the United States dollar, the US dollar, still is the currency of choice for world trade, international business, global import, export, and other world affairs, we're gonna convert all the public-private debt of Canada into US dollars. And my DRT theory, the DRT theory also contains in it monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory is exactly the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. The Germans, the Italians, the French destroyed their old currencies, they destroyed their old central banks, and they created a new central bank known as the ECB, European Central Bank, the ECB, European Central Bank, the ECB, the European Central Bank. So they destroyed their old currencies, and they now have a common currency, the euro, and a common central bank. They did that way back decades ago. In the 90s, it started after the Second World War. It grew from a common market, and now they have the common bank. Several nation states, many, they don't have their old central banks. Like Canada, we have Federal Reserve, the United States Federal Reserve. They got rid of their central banks decades ago. Long time ago, more than 25 years ago, they created the ECB, European Central Bank. So many nation states. So if they did it, we can do it. We had to do it a long time ago, maybe at the same time they did it. But here we are today, where there's no other way, because my DRT theory contains, in my debt refusion theory, the DRT contains that theory, monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory which was implemented in the European Union. So we're going to take all the debt, public-private debt, convert it to US dollars. All that money is going to be the initial money in circulation for the foundation of this new central bank. Canada first, United States second, and then Canada, US, Mexico if they will, Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba. The North American complex, it could be extended, blah, blah, blah. NATO countries, let's say NATO countries. It can be in theory extended, but Canada first, United States second, and then whoever wills, North America and beyond. It could be BIS, Bank of International Settlements also. To create a new currency called the UE, based on the value of the US dollar. So all the debt, public and private, will be the initial money supply in circulation for this new Central North American Bank, whatever we call it, Integrated North American Bank. We're going to create, of course, the UE, U dot, Universal E dot, Exchange UE, the U dot, Universal E dot, Exchange, U dot UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the U dot, Universal E dot, Exchange, U dot UE, the U dot Universal E dot Exchange U dot UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, U dot Universal E dot Exchange U dot Unit, U dot Universal E dot Exchange U dot Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, based on the value of the US dollar, based on the value of the US dollar, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, based on the value of the US dollar, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE. We're going to set an interest rate level of 10%. 10%, it could be below 7.18, 4.18, 1.56, 11, 3.33, 6.1, 9.3, below 10 interest rate thereafter, after we implement it. So there's not going to be able to be higher than 10%. We're going to create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, based on the value of the US dollar. With that money, we're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure of North American Collective, build the infrastructure, rebuild the infrastructure, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance citizens to work out, train, exercise, mass finance tourism for North American Collective wellness and general wellness for North America, mass finance North American integration, mass finance the building of 44 tunnels, the building of 44 tunnels across the North American complex in order to defend for, based on one of my theoretical papers written about 5, 6, even 7 years ago when I started writing it, in case of a thermonuclear war, the initiative and the protocols for citizen public-private partnership initiatives in order to secure the continuity of the North American civilizational complex in case of a thermonuclear war. So my documents usually have long academic, scholarly, intellectual titles, but to sum it up is basically to, in case of a thermonuclear war, to build 44 tunnels, across North America, in order to continue the civilization, population, the cities, the population, of course, the continuity of civilization in case of a thermonuclear war, of which we have many nuclear warheads which were built during the more than 44 years, almost 45, between March 1947 and December 26, 1991. More than 44 years, almost 45 years of the duration of the Cold War. So many ICBM rockets were built, across the during the Cold War period. most nuclear warheads, is Russia still possesses all nuclear warheads and all nuclear weapons which were built of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union, all the nuclear warheads and ICBM rockets which the Soviet Union built, the USSR, during many decades, is Russia who has still possession of them, and they built really new ones as well. They built really new ones as well. They built really new ones as well. So that's what it is with that, and that's how we're gonna go do it, and that's what we have to do. So, well, my anonymous friend texted me to play lotto, because play lotto, I guess 50-50, so just got a text to that. So yeah, I have some dollars. I don't have a big budget for December, but I guess I can spend whatever, $5, whatever the case is. So that's what I guess I could do. So back to the DRT, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt. So my 10,000, your 10,000, all debt, public, private debt, we're gonna convert it to US dollar. We're gonna add it with the US and Mexico if they will. All the debt, public and private, is gonna be the initial money supply for the creation of a new central bank. All the money in circulation, we're gonna create a new currency. Just like in the European Union, the Germans, they destroyed the German Deutschmark, they got rid of it. The Italians, they got rid of the lira, the French as well. They created the euro in circulation, the euro. So they destroyed their currency. There's no more Deutschmark. There's no more lira, there's no more franc. So they now have the euro. They now have the euro. So we're gonna take all the debt, all the money in circulation is gonna be all the public and the private debt, all the money in circulation is going to be all the public and the private debt. It's going to be all the public and the private debt. So it's going to be in the trillions. We're going to set an interest rate level of 10%, but with that money, we're really going to rebuild the mass rebuild the infrastructure, because our infrastructure for more than 45 years has been like since the 70s. The majority of it has not been really a mass investment. In North America, the bridges, the highways, the electricity, the power grids, we're going to be able to open up 44 tunnels, big tunnels, just based on the model of the Montreal underground city. Mass finance citizens tourism to go work out, train, exercise. My general integrated total body training system, my workout training program system, which I've created back in 2019, simple, effective, and efficient. Let's give some UEs credit, some that. Let's go. My Scorpio brother Bill Gates of BlackRock and Blackstone are two different financial institutions. Another Scorpio, Larry Fink, and Joe Biden, and we're astrologically related as well. Another Scorpio. It doesn't matter. It could be Sagittarius, Lion, Pisces, and Libras. All the astrological signs. I'm just pointing a little bit of astrology here because I'm also a mystic, but I'm also a geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. So, and the DRT is the only solution. Debt refusion theory. DRT for the creation of the UE. My brothers and sisters, there's no other way. We're about to collapse the public finances. We have to really rebuild, and we're going to have to rebuild with that mass rebuilding, open up tunnels, encourage public transit, build more hydroelectric dams here in Quebec, because they're clean, renewable, build more hydroelectric dams, build social housing, secure food, housing, and transport, and finance the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The two covenant, cooperative, and complementary institutions. Complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. The Dancing Goddess Army, North American Integrated Dance League, to clean the environment, to dance for pleasure and purpose, to dance for pleasure and purpose, to dance for pleasure and purpose. And the Dragon Army to be for security, service, and defense, security, service, and defense, security, service, and defense. That's what it is with that. So that's what it is with that. And that's what it is for the drill. It's something which we have to do together, and it takes something which we gotta meditate upon, and it's something which we gonna meditate now as we are on the do and on the go, and it's something which we have to be open about, and to get North American Union together, the Democratic Republic, my dream, public-private partnership, and we're going to build together the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian West border, and we're going to inaugurate it, the building thereof, with me and Trump fighting in a boxing match, me and Donald Trump fighting in a boxing match, me and Donald Trump fighting in a boxing match, and I will to also build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I will to also build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I will also to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I also will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I also will to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, you know, to will the Forgotten Goddess Temple. And here, you know, all the lights, all the civilization, we gotta defend it. And in Concordium with nature is the motto of Montreal is Concordia Salus. The motto of Montreal is Concordia Salus. The motto of Montreal is Concordia Salus, harmony, peace through harmony, I guess. Peace through harmony, which is a great Latin motto, peace through harmony. And encouraging all the workout, train, exercise. Working out, train, exercise has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. And big loving, and gonna go do geopolitics at home, see what's happening in South Korea, and gotta say alternatives, no to the 25% tariffs, no to the 25% tariffs, no to the 25% tariffs, you know, is something which I would have loved to discuss with Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau, you know, present my DRT theory, which is the only solution, and my initiatives protocols for the building 44 tunnels in case of thermonuclear war, and of course Operation Northern Scorpion, which the only scorpion species of scorpion, which comes of course all the way in Canada, is the Northern Scorpion. The Northern Scorpion is the only scorpion species which comes all the way, the Northern Scorpion, which is based on my total defense, total mobile defense theory, or the T. Total mobile defense theory. Total defense mobile theory. Or the TMD, total mobile defense theory. Total mobile defense theory, which is also a sub of the citizen integration theory. It goes hand in hand with citizen integration theory. So it's for North American complex to, in case of an emergency like we are today, World War III, potential bionuclear, and worst case scenario, my total mobile defense theory goes to have the Dragon Army, citizen integration and mobilization, and to be able, of course, and to do the great North American social and financial audit, and the great North American social and financial audit, and of course to have access to all highways and roads and railways and roads, and to be for security, service, and defense based on my philosophies and initiatives and protocols, and goodness and kindness, and understanding, and mutual consent, and to get a great North American family, and all who come to join us, we're going to make an effort for French, for English, vice versa. Sometimes we got to make an effort, a little bit for mice. In my place for the past 7 years, I learned Spanish. My neighbors, I have black neighbors and Mexican neighbors, so we had good relations and practiced a little bit of my Spanish. And we're North Americans unite. 24/7, North Americans unite. I really believe we're an emergent geopolitical civilizational complex. We have issues to solve, crises and internal and other social and economic, financial, but like myself, just financially struggling. And in the past 45 months, I've accepted my neurodivergence, known as high functioning HFA, high functioning autism, aka Asperger's, being an Aspie, and I just have to let other people know what it is, and that I have certain symptoms that I'm not that able in certain social circumstances, and communications can seem awkward and more bizarre, and that's what I am. I'm an Aspie and part of a minority, and also Rainbow Dragon, always rock and roll. Farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, truckers, hey, those firefighters, LOV. Let me see you some LOV, because it's not all about the money. Shake your hands up. Put it where the snap up. Hands up, toes down. Let me see you. Somebody doesn't a little bit of that clown. It's okay, no frown. And I rock and roll, you bet. Rock and roll, I can rock and roll, dance in geopolitics 24/7. Rock and roll, geopolitics, dancing, geopolitics, rock and roll. It's a constant with me, you know. Those are my obsessive interests, and I'm super focused and intense when I discuss geopolitics, or of course when I dance, and whatever the case may be, which I do, you know, it's something which I gotta be on the doing now, and it's something which I gotta be doing on the now, and that's what it is, and that's what it is with that. So gonna rock and roll on the road, so that you know we're gonna show for the DRT, for that you and for that me, for that you and for that B, for that you and for the C, for the C and for the B, for the tree and for the do, for the French, cause we la belle province. Let's go for that French. A little bit of that singing, that rock and roll up in the road. So yeah, we're gonna switch it a little bit of that French, and that's what we're gonna be doing. And here we are, grateful, thankful, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food, got coffee, and we gotta get it on the go now as we go, of course, to the left, to the right, to the Z, and we gotta get it as we go now, of course, and we gotta always be on the way, on the side that we're gonna go on the LOV, and we gotta meditate, and encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and working out, training, exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. You know, will be my medicine and therapy of choice. Will be my medicine and therapy of choice, and that's what I gotta be doing. You know, and that's what I do, 24/7. You know, sometimes it's on the sides, sometimes it's in the forest, on the mountains, sometimes it's in civilization. Like here I'm like 50-50. If I make $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion, I'm gonna give 50% to my anonymous friend. I will to build the forgotten goddess temple. Forgotten goddess temple, forgotten goddess temple, forgotten goddess temple, forgotten goddess temple that I will to build, you know. It's something which I will to build, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is, and that's what we gotta get doing, and I gotta get circumvisions, and gotta get those alternatives for the tariffs. 25% too much, 25%. Let's find alternatives we can together, North Americans. We can integrate. It's time for the border to go. It's time for the border to go north-south. We're here through North Strong and Free Canada, but it's not only strength and freedom. We gotta have some loving, We gotta have some loving. Hey, we gotta have some loving. It's not all about strength. It's not all about freedom. Gotta be insured, secured. Very few of us, you know. Freedom is something new under the sun, Mr. Solomon, and we gotta be a little bit more sharing. It's sometimes not all about me. It's not all about you. Sometimes it's about the firefighters, LOV. The butchers, the warehouse workers, those picking up the garbage, the compost, the garbage, the recycling, the workers. Let's get that North American workers, collective workers party. I go on the toes now, ready to switch it up a bit in that French, because here we are in La Belle Province, Quebec. You know how we do it, bilingual like Celine Dion, and gotta say my gratitude again. So it took about half an hour, I guess, to go from these lights to that light. So we're in the dark where we come from over there when we went east. Now we came back west. Here's where we entered, and then here where we come from over there, right when we started recording, and now we're going back on the side, because I don't have a lot of money, financially struggling, but my anonymous friend, if I make $1 million, I'm gonna give half, 50% of every million, billion, trillion. I'm gonna text it, and I said, let's do 50-50 on a lotto, playing a lotto tonight. So I say, yeah, let's do that 50-50, and encouraging all to work out, to train, exercise, LOV. Let's get alternatives to those 25. Let's build together the North American people's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border. Credit trillions of kisses I got by the trillions. Got trillions of kisses. Push-ups, hawk squats, and for the forgotten goddess temple, I got trillions of kisses. Trillions of kisses. Credited from the forgotten goddess. The forgotten goddess dances starlight, and dances with her brother sun. The forgotten goddess. DDSS, HHH, buried me with Papa Crowley, 93, in New Hampton, New Jersey. Third me up in the city of the pyramids. Third me up in Mount Royal, and Papa Crowley Hill. Et on est dans l'entraînement physique québécois québécoise. Je vous encourage à l'entraînement physique et je dois commencer par la gratitude, la gratitude, la gratitude. J'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café puis du thé, puis bien sûr l'entraînement physique a été sur ma médecine et thérapie de choix, puis je salue les pompiers, les boulangers, ceux qui travaillent dans, bien sûr, les camionneurs qui s'en vont du Québec, Canada, à travers le collectif nord-américain, à travers l'Amérique du Nord. Votre aspirant, artiste, athlète, philosophe, le dragon arc-en-ciel, le dragon arc-en-ciel, le dragon arc-en-ciel. Des fois, messieurs, madame, des fois, messieurs, madame, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Ben de l'entraînement physique, c'est bon pour la santé mentale. Puis avec ma neurodivergence, depuis 45 mois, j'y travaille. Donc, je sais que j'ai cette condition. Je vis avec mes cicatrices. Mais aujourd'hui, j'ai vu du monde se tenir par la main, se faire du bon voisinage, ainsi que des actes et des gestes de bonté. Fait que ça me donne l'espoir. On commence bien décembre, c'est le temps des fêtes, d'être plus gentil, puis de penser aux autres aussi, que c'est pas juste l'individu, c'est le collectif. Puis tout ça, c'est un privilège. Hydro-Québec, merci. À cause de vous, j'ai les lumières, puis mon téléphone intelligent, de l'électricité pour que je puisse faire cette vidéo. Puis ça prend de la vieille école du 20e siècle, le travail d'Hydro-Québec, toutes ces lumières proviennent de ce travail qui a été fait, puis qu'on continue à faire dans le 21e siècle d'aujourd'hui, d'hier, d'aujourd'hui, puis de demain. Puis, ayant survécu la COVID, je l'ai eu, ça va faire 5 ans, en février-mars. J'étais vraiment malade, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Puis, je suis dans bain, je dis souvent, je suis mort dans ma grotte de dragon arc-en-ciel à Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, sur l'île de Montréal, puis j'étais en train de renaître. Puis ma renaissance, je veux la vôtre aussi, puis je veux une coopération pour le rêve qui se manifeste, comme le royaume de la déesse, du dragon qui danse. Quand je dis ça, bien sûr, c'est bien sûr un appel, fondamentalement un partenariat public-privé, bien sûr, un appel à un partenariat public-privé à travers ce que j'appelle le collectif, le complexe de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord, puis bien sûr l'événement en géopolitique, parce que la géopolitique est mon intérêt obsessif, puis c'est ça que je suis, un artiste athlète, analyste et théoricien indépendant en géopolitique, puis c'est la géopolitique avec concentration, c'est un intérêt obsessif qu'on appelle pour nous les Aspi, les Asperger, ceux qui ont l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, on a des intérêts obsessifs, et ces intérêts, ça préoccupe la plupart de nos journées, genre, on se concentre, on étudie, on fait des études là-dedans, puis c'est vraiment des intérêts obsessifs. Et moi, bien sûr, je peux dire qu'en géopolitique, j'ai prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant, en 2019. La situation actuelle, je l'ai prévue d'une manière générale, pas en chaque détail, mais d'une manière généralement parlant, j'ai prévu cette situation de conflagration internationale de la Troisième Guerre mondiale. Je l'ai prévu en 2019. Je l'ai prévu en 2019, puis j'ai quand même des protocoles, des initiatives que je fais appel pour que ça soit implémenté pour le collectif nord-américain en tant que Québécois, Canadien, nord-américain, en philosophe, artiste et analyste théoricien en géopolitique qui a prévu la situation actuelle en octobre et en novembre 2019. Puis pour vous faire un résumé comme j'ai fait auparavant, c'est que j'avais prévu qu'à cause du fait que beaucoup de régions, des pays, des civilisations n'ont pas été capables de résoudre leurs problèmes de manière pacifique. Puis c'est ça qui arrive. En Russie et l'Ukraine, puis au Moyen-Orient, c'est des conflits qui n'ont pas été résolus du 20e siècle. J'avais prévu qu'ils vont continuer dans le 21e siècle. Puis un autre potentiel conflit, c'est la Chine puis le Taïwan. C'est un conflit qu'ils n'ont pas été capables de résoudre. Je dis souvent ici, au Québec, en tant que Québécois, Canadiens et Nord-Américains, qu'on a fait le grand compromis linguistique pour se battre pour le français. Des fois, on donne sur la table, on rejette, on remet, on met en question, mais on fait un effort, je dis toujours ça. En tant qu'individu, en tant qu'artiste, il faut que je fasse mon effort moi-même aussi pour le français, si je veux le mettre en valeur, qu'on le valorise, qu'on l'apprécie. C'est pas juste le bécherel, le français non plus, là, tu sais, c'est plus que ça. Fait que c'est sûr qu'il y a des niveaux du français, de l'apprentissage du français, mais quand même, on doit faire un effort individuel, je trouve, que si on veut le mettre en valeur, puis que les gens qui ne parlent pas le français, qui fassent un effort, mais c'est aussi à nous de les diriger vers des films, du cinéma québécois, puis qu'ils regardent ça avec des sous-titres peut-être. Tu sais, comme des films du Québec des années 80, Carmina, ou Bon Cop, Bad Cop 2, 3, mais Faisons le 3 ensemble parce qu'il n'est pas encore fait. Ou d'autres films, que Elvis Gratton, et ainsi de suite. Tu sais, il y a bien du cinéma, bien du rock'n'roll, bien des arts, de la culture, mais ça prend l'effort individuel. Moi, je le fais au quotidien en chantant du rock'n'roll, là. C'est un autre de mes intérêts obsessifs. La trinité de mes intérêts obsessifs, c'est la géopolitique 24/24 chez nous. Puis même quand je suis en marche, je fais l'entraînement physique, le sport, l'entraînement physique. Puis la danse, c'est mon sport et mon entraînement physique que je préfère, la danse. J'adore danser, c'est mon intérêt. C'est vraiment mon sport préféré. Puis l'entraînement physique que je préfère, la danse, plus la marche-danse. Puis je fais toujours des initiations, puis de la création la chorégraphie de danse quand je marche, puis quand je fais du rock'n'roll, puis comme maintenant, tu sais. Puis bien sûr, le rock'n'roll pour les camionneurs de la belle province, les travailleurs sont en grève. Le dragon en arc-en-ciel, je veux que vous voir chanter puis danser, les mains dans les airs. S'il vous plaît, faut-tu que je dise, s'il vous plaît. Ouais, c'est le rock'n'roll, j'en compose des chansons, je chante, puis je compose, puis je suis toujours inspiré par la civilisation puis la nature, puis c'est ça que je fais. Je suis un artiste athlète je suis en crise financière maintenant, mais à part ça, je suis jovial quand même. Je suis en crise financière en ce moment, mais à part ça, ça va bien. À part ma crise financière, mais ça va bien quand même. À part être en crise financière, je suis quand même joyeux, jovial. J'ai pas d'autres stress en ce moment. L'entraînement physique, ça a fait perdre environ 80 puis 93 livres. Puis quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte en 2017, mais avant ça, j'étais en dépression, puis j'étais suicidaire, puis ça m'a vraiment fait un gros réveil, puis j'ai établi un esprit de corps solide avec les Québécois, les Canadiens et les Nord-Américains en 2017. Ça fait déjà plus que 7 ans, là. Ça fait plus que 7 ans, là. Ça a passé, puis c'est là que j'ai eu un réveil. Je dis, c'était un gros privilège. Tellement de choses que j'ai pas vues au Québec, au Canada. Je vais aller voir à Bay James, les centrales d'Hydro-Québec à Bay James, puis je vais voir d'autres centrales construites, puis je vais voir le renouveau de l'infrastructure, puis je vais voir mon combat de boxe avec Donald Trump sur la frontière Canada-États-Unis. C'est là que j'ai commencé en 2018, hein, quand Donald Trump a imposé des tarifs sur l'acier et l'aluminium du Québec, du Canada et du Québec. Hein. C'est là que mon ami anonyme m'a acheté des gants rouges que je vends pour $1 million pour lui donner la moitié. Et je fais appel pour combattre Trump sur la frontière Canada-États-Unienne. Qu'on construise ensemble un colisée du peuple nord-américain impérial, un colisée, un grand aréna, un grand colisée sur la frontière canadienne-états-unienne, un grand colisée sur la frontière canadienne-états-unienne, pour un grand colisée pour le sport, pour l'entraînement physique, puis l'inauguration, ça va être moi contre Trump, un match de boxe. Puis parallèlement, je veux construire le temple de la déesse oubliée, puis je dois saluer les travailleurs en construction, avec le savoir-faire, là, les grues, puis ça prend du cerveau puis des muscles, puis je dois saluer aussi, envoyer un peu d'amour de votre dragon arc-en-ciel pour ceux qui ramassent les vidanges, les services des vidanges, les services du nettoyage public, les poubelles, le recyclage, puis bien sûr le compostage. C'est ces 3 services, bien sûr, que je fais chaque semaine hebdomadaire, puis c'est bien sûr les infirmières aussi, les docteurs, puis ceux qui ont changé les couches dans les garderies. Il faut que je pense à eux autres aussi, les envoyer un peu d'amour, puis les salutations, puis les camionneurs, puis les travailleurs d'Hydro-Québec, les pompiers amour, toujours penser aux autres, puis dans le thème de géopolitique, les chauffeurs de train, les caissiers et les caissières dans les magasins, puis ceux qui font les nettoyages, puis dans les entrepôts, les soudeurs, les électriciens, les plombiers, les Nord-Américains qu'on s'unisse. Soutenez la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Je vais la mettre sur la table, puis je vais dire que c'est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sauver. Puis ça vient d'un paradoxe, que bien sûr, mon intérêt obsessif, c'est la géopolitique. Puis quand on étudie la géopolitique, ou moi-même en étant analyste et théoricien en géopolitique indépendant qui a prévu qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en 2019, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution qui peut nous sortir, qui peut nous sortir d'où qu'on est rendu avec les finances publiques. Parce qu'on paye 46,5 milliards, 1 milliard sur 9 zéros, ça a plus que doublé en 2020-2021, on paye 20,3 milliards. 20,3 milliards, c'est 20 000 millions, c'est 20 000 millions. Fait que 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. C'est rendu plus que le double, c'est 46,5 milliards. Et on ne peut pas avoir de solution. Ça va d'être une catastrophe. On ne pourra plus financer les pompiers, on ne pourra plus financer ceux qui ramassent les vidanges, on ne pourra plus financer les services publics. C'est la TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution. Je vais vous l'expliquer maintenant, c'est super important parce que je mets sur la table. Il faut savoir qu'il faut trouver une solution parce qu'on ne veut pas que Donald Trump impose 25% de tarifs, des taxes, là. C'est 25%, c'est 25 cents. Fait que c'est bien plus qu'en 2018. En 2018, voilà 6 ans, c'était 10% seulement sur l'aluminium et l'acier. Maintenant, c'est 25% sur tous les produits ça va commencer, qui dit dès le 20 janvier. Ça s'en vient dans 40 jours, 20 janvier, plus que 40 jours un peu. On est le 3 décembre, fait que 44, plus que 44 jours, dans plus que 44 jours, j'imagine. 44 jours, là. Ben, 25%, c'est beaucoup, on peut pas, on doit trouver des solutions, Fait une de ces solutions, c'est la TRD, parallèlement à mes initiatives pour le partenariat public-privé. Fondamentalement, je fais appel à un partenariat public-privé, mais attendez une seconde, parce qu'il faut que je tourne ma tête de la gauche à droite, parce que des fois, les citoyens conducteurs pèsent sur l'accélérateur. À place de peser sur le frein, ça pèse sur l'accélérateur, puis les freins lâchent. C'est possible. C'est pour ça qu'il faut qu'on soit prudent dans le public quand on sort dehors, on fait du magasinage, on traverse la rue, on sort. Des fois, regardez de gauche à droite parce que c'est possible. Des fois, tu sais, c'est pour éviter, là, pour la prudence, la vigilance. Puis moi, avec ma trompe que j'ai vécu dans ma vie, puis quand j'étais attaqué par surprise dans le métro de Montréal, je suis tombé, je me suis cogné la tête, j'ai le bras disloqué, puis je pensais que j'allais mourir aussi. J'étais allé à l'hôpital, ils m'ont replacé le bras, puis pendant comme un couple de jours, j'étais fini chez nous dans le lit, puis avant ça, je m'en souviens pas bien de ma vie, j'ai comme un blackout de mémoire, là, mais en tout cas, je suis hyper vigilant, mon hyper-vigilance, vis-à-vis quand même prudent, mais je suis pas violent, j'aime pas la violence, je suis juste défensif, là, c'est la défense, mais qui m'intéresse plus que d'autres choses, là. La défense de l'Amérique du Nord du Québec, puis je défendrai quand même sur une invasion, je suis le premier à les mettre en uniforme puis à vous défendre. Seulement pour la défense de côte à côte, par exemple, défense seulement. Fait que la TRD, dans le cadre d'une invasion des armées externes vers l'Atlantique ou le Pacifique, là, je fais référence à l'invasion des armées d'ailleurs, dehors de l'Amérique du Nord. Fait que on va trouver une solution, je suis sûr, dans ces tarifs que Donald Trump dit qu'il va imposer. Fait que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, je vous l'explique le plus simple possible. Fait que TRD, théorie R, refusion de la dette. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Théorie de la refusion de la dette. TT, théorie R, refusion de la dette. Fait qu'on va prendre, encore une fois, il n'y a pas d'autre solution parce qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts. En payant 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, il n'y a pas d'autre solution que ma théorie TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Fait que je vous l'explique. On va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, incluant ma dette de 10 000 $. Fait que moi, j'ai une dette de 10 000 $. On va prendre toute la... Puis tenez compte que ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça contient en dedans d'elle la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, on va convertir dans la devise des États-Unis, Canada premièrement, États-Unis après, puis en Amérique du Nord, l'Amérique du Nord. Puis ma TRD, encore une fois, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire, ce qui est la théorie, bien sûr, qui a été implémentée en Europe. Les Européens des années 90, les Allemands, ils ont détruit leur banque centrale, puis leur Deutschmark, les Italiens ont détruit leur lira, puis leur banque lira, les Français aussi, ils ont fait la création d'une nouvelle banque des années 80, la Banque centrale de l'Europe, puis maintenant, il y a une monnaie commune en circulation. L'euro, ça fait longtemps, ça fait plus que 25 ans qu'ils l'ont fait, ça fait plus que 25 ans qu'ils l'ont fait, ça fait plus que 25 ans. Fait que ma théorie, ça contient en dedans d'elle cette théorie que les Européens ont mis en marche, que les Européens ont fait la TRD de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, T pour théorie, R pour refusion de la dette, ça contient en dedans d'elle la théorie d'intégration monétaire, c'est la théorie que les Européens ont mis ils ont faite. Fait que je vous l'explique le plus simplement possible. Donc, on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. Ma dette, votre dette, ma dette, la tienne, toute la dette publique-privée, on va la convertir dans la devise des États-Unis. On va faire la conversion. Toute cette dette-là, ça a fondé l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. Ça a été de l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. Toute la dette publique-privée, ça a été de l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée, ça a été de l'argent initial pour une nouvelle banque. Salutations au train, travailleurs publics, les chauffeurs de train. Hey, c'est beau ça. Je trouve ça vraiment beau les trains, mais on sera de retour à la TRD, théorie, revision de la dette. Mais vous voyez comment, vu que j'ai l'Asperger, j'ai l'autisme hautement fonctionnel, je regarde le train, je sais qu'il s'en va à quelle direction, mais je l'intègre dans le contexte géopolitique parce que la géopolitique est mon intérêt obsessif. Puis bien sûr, je pense à un potentiel sabotage parce que là, on s'est impliqué dans des guerres, pas juste... On s'est impliqué de manière, Québec, le Canada, là, où il n'y a pas de vote, pas de vote populaire pour voir qu'est-ce que l'action qu'on va faire, mais c'est pas moi-même, puis moi, vous en tant que tel, mais le gouvernement, on a pris des décisions pour s'impliquer dans des conflits, pas juste de manière humanitaire, mais de manière qu'on envoie des armes, puis des finances pour les armées, pour la défense dans des conflits, pas juste de l'aide humanitaire. Dans d'autres mots, on envoie du soutien militaire, comme à l'Ukraine, dans d'autres pays. Donc, vu qu'on a pris cette décision-là, puis encore une fois, c'est pas moi-même qui a pris la décision, c'est pas moi-même qui a pris la décision, mais c'est bien sûr quelque chose que moi-même, je dois faire moi-même aujourd'hui. Puis je fais cette méditation, puis bien sûr, dans le contexte, je vais faire le tour, dans le contexte de géopolitique, d'un point de vue défensif, puis comment, bien sûr, l'infrastructure, les transports publics, bien sûr, la nourriture, tout ça, c'est possible qu'il y ait du sabotage parce qu'on a pris cette décision. Fait que c'est possible qu'on s'est fait des ennemis qui vont utiliser certains groupes hostiles, certains groupes pour qui fassent du sabotage interne au Québec, au Canada, dans l'Amérique du Nord. Du sabotage interne de l'Amérique du Nord, Canada, Québec, du sabotage au Québec, au Canada, en Amérique du Nord, en réponse qu'on s'est impliqué de manière militaire, pas juste humanitaire. C'est juste faire une réflexion. Puis même si je peux faire j'en fais au quotidien, là, c'est 24/24 depuis bien des années, les analyses et l'intérieur géopolitique. Puis aujourd'hui, l'événement principal jusqu'à quand il va être inauguré, il va avoir officiellement prendre la position de président le 20 janvier, l'inauguration de Donald Trump. Jusqu'à là, il n'est pas encore président, c'est Joe Biden qui est président jusqu'au 20 janvier. Fait que c'est encore une période, là, une couple de semaines, mais c'est bien sûr du point de vue que c'est principalement les tarifs de 25% ou la proposition que Donald Trump va imposer des tarifs sur tous les produits qu'on exporte, qu'eux autres y importent, puis que le Québec, le Canada, y exportent aux États-Unis, puis c'est notre partenaire de commerce principal. On n'a pas d'autre, on est de côte à côte, d'océan à océan, l'Atlantique puis le Pacifique, puis au sud, c'est nos chers frères et sœurs des États-Unis, puis that's all, on est nord-américains, on n'a pas d'autres vraiment. Ben, en tant que principalement, là, on a d'autres import-export autrement, puis à travers le monde, mais principalement en tant que, dans le collectif nord-américain. Fait que c'est principalement ça. Après ça, aujourd'hui, c'est la nouvelle en géopolitique que le président de la Corée du Sud, il a imposé la loi martiale. Fait que ça encore, c'est un conflit entre la Corée du Nord et le Sud du 20e siècle qui n'a pas été résolu. Officiellement, il n'y a pas eu de résolution. Comme ici au Québec, on a fait le grand compromis linguistique. Du français, on continue à le faire. Des fois, on se donne de la gauche, de la droite, on met ça en table. Des chansons de Céline, puis peut-être des chansons rock'n'roll de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, mais on met sur la table, on se donne, des fois on met des lois, on impose des lois, on fait ci puis ça, mais on a été capable de se rendre jusqu'ici sans avoir de conflit, puis qu'on continue de même, puis bien sûr, avec nos frères et sœurs qui sont noirs, tu sais, nos frères et sœurs qui sont noirs, les 13,3, 13,4%, tu sais, mes voisins incluants, on a fait dans le grand collectif dans l'Amérique du Nord, 13,3, 13,4% de la population sont noirs, puis des fois, c'est sûr qu'on a du subconscient, du racisme, mais qu'il faut qu'on travaille nous-mêmes, puis je mets ça à table pour mes frères et sœurs noirs, des bisous, puis comme je mets pour tout le monde, premièrement des bisous, j'en ai des câlins, puis de l'amour, puis de l'argent, je n'ai pas pour offrir de l'argent, mais c'est sûr qu'on y travaille ensemble, puis on se rend en tant que Nord-Américains, la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, mes chers Québécois, c'est la seule et unique solution en ce moment. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, puis je vais l'expliquer le plus simplement possible. Donc, vu qu'on paye 46,5 milliards, ça a plus que doublé, c'est sûr qu'à cause de la COVID, il y a eu des implémentations de protocoles et de programmes pour le soutien de la population dans la crise de la COVID. Fait que c'est sûr qu'il faut tenir compte de ça. Mais, vu qu'on paye 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, il n'y a pas d'autre solution que ma théorie de la refusion de la dette qui, en dedans d'elle, ça contient la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Qu'est-ce que c'est la théorie d'intégration monétaire? C'est exactement ce qu'ont fait les Européens en Europe. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette. Mon 10 000 à la Banque Royale, 10 000 canadiens de dette, toute la dette de côte à côte, public-privé, on va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. Canada premièrement, États-Unis après, Haïti, Mexique, Haïti, Cuba, les autres pays de l'Amérique du Nord, ça peut s'étendre transatlantique avec l'OTAN, l'Organisation transatlantique du Nord, l'Alliance de sécurité puis de l'armée militaire, l'Alliance militaire. Mais, premièrement, au Canada, au Québec. Fait que toute la dette publique-privée, convertie dans la devise des États-Unis, ça a fondé une nouvelle banque. Ça a fondé une nouvelle banque, puis on va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie. On va appeler UI, basée sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis. U point, unité, E point, échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point, échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point, échange, U point universel. UI. Le UI, basé sur la valeur du dollar des États-Unis, puis on ne s'ostinera pas parce que le UI en anglais, ça va être pareil. Fait que ça va être 1 UI, 2 UI, 3 UI. 1 UI, 2 UI, 3 UI. Basé sur la valeur des États-Unis, on va mettre un plateau d'intérêt, maximum d'intérêt après ça, de 10 Ça peut être 3,33, 6,1, 9,3, 4,18, 7,10, en bas de 10. Avec tout cet argent-là, on va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure de l'Amérique du Nord, bâtir, construire 44 tunnels basés sur le village souterrain de Montréal, dans le cadre d'une guerre thermonucléaire pour la continuité de la civilisation du complexe nord-américain. Bâtir 44 tunnels, on va pouvoir, bien sûr, financer les gens à faire l'entraînement physique, parce que ça fait tellement du bien. Puis en créant mon propre entraînement physique, on peut financer puis donner des crédit des UI, ça va être la nouvelle monnaie d'échange, unité d'échange universelle basée sur la valeur des États-Unis. On va pouvoir financer les gens au tourisme parce que ça fait du bien. On va pouvoir rebâtir l'infrastructure, bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec. Avec cet argent-là, ça va être le renouveau et la renaissance du collectif de civilisation de l'Amérique du Nord. Puis on va faire bien du bien commun. Puis c'est un partenariat public-privé fondamentalement. Mon rêve, c'est pour le royaume de la déesse et du dragon qui danse. C'est fondamentalement un rêve pour l'Amérique du Nord, l'Union de l'Amérique du Nord, la République. Le roi est absent, mes chers. Vous êtes ma famille, veut pas, on est dysfonctionnel des fois, mais le roi est absent, mais le roi est absent, fait que le roi est absent, mais la couronne, tout ça, mais c'est vous, c'est les 40 millions Canadiens, 10 millions de Québécois, puis tous ceux qui viennent nous rejoindre, puis la TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. La théorie de la refusion de la dette, toute la dette, ensemble, on va faire la refusion, puis on va faire la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. On va pouvoir tellement faire du bien commun, puis on va faire l'implémentation des protocoles de défense mobile intégrés, puis l'opération Scorpion du Nord, parallèlement, bien sûr, en faisant pour la défense dans une situation de guerre nucléaire potentielle, puis on va pouvoir faire bien du bien commun, bâtir des centrales d'Hydro-Québec, rebâtir l'infrastructure, ouvrir des montagnes, des tunnels, 44 tunnels, puis on va pouvoir faire bien des choses en commun, pour le bien commun, pour la continuité de la situation de l'Amérique du Nord, puis c'est la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. On est rendu à payer 46,5 milliards, vous pouvez vous ostiner, mais 46,5 milliards d'intérêts, c'est rendu en 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. Ça a plus que doublé, là. C'est plus que le double. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. C'est ça qui est ça. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, puis il faut que j'aille aux toilettes. Donc, avec amour, je vous laisse. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, mes chers, que la TRD. On va voir, il faut que je me lave les mains. N'oubliez pas de vous laver les mains. C'est en bonne condition pareil, ça prend un peu de couleur, mais là, à cause des germes et des microbes, ben, j'utilise mon foulard. Là, parce que je sais pas, tiens. Anyways, les bactéries, les germes, donc